Today, we're going to tear down a modern protest anthem called Let Truth to Power Prevail. Now, our goal here isn't to take a side or endorse the message. Instead, we're just going to neutrally analyze how this thing is built. You know, its structure, the language it uses, and the emotional journey it's trying to take you on. We're going to follow it all the way from personal grief to this big collective call for change.
So here's our roadmap. We're going to follow the song's story, starting with how it establishes itself as a song of protest in the first place. Then we'll dive into its main request, this plea for truth. After that, we'll see how it shifts into a call for change, and finally, we'll look at that really powerful ending, the resolve to rise.
All right, at the absolute heart of this song is this one line, let truth to power prevail. And this isn't just a catchy phrase, it's the song's entire mission statement. It is the rallying cry, the central idea that everything else is built around.
So, how does a song like this even begin? Well, what's interesting is it doesn't kick off with some big, sweeping political statement. Nope. Instead, it grounds its message in something way more personal and specific, loss. By starting with actual names, Alex and Renee, the song makes the political incredibly personal, right out of the gate. This isn't some abstract debate, it's presented as a real human story. And, mentioning Trump and ICE immediately sets the political stage and points directly to the source of the grievance, at least from the songwriter's point of view. And notice how fast the first verse pivots from sadness to determination. It totally acknowledges the pain. Hearts are heavy, our voices shake. But then it immediately flips to a declaration of action. This really sets the tone for the whole journey, from private grief to a public stand. And that commitment, it leads us straight into the chorus, which is really the heart of the song's entire message. This is the moment it stops just describing a problem and starts making a very direct and very powerful appeal. Okay, so before we really break down that chorus, we have to get on the same page about this key concept. Speaking truth to power. What does that actually mean? Well, it's the idea of confronting people in charge with a reality they might not want to hear. It's about using truth as a tool for change, and that idea is the engine that drives this whole song. The chorus itself is fascinating because it's making a two-part appeal. First, it's asking for a kind of spiritual cleansing, right? This idea of holy light flooding a center of power. But then second, it calls for divine justice, and it offers two ways that could happen. Either the people in charge have a total change of heart, or some higher power just steps in and stops the harm they're causing. Now, as the song keeps going, you can really feel the energy start to shift. It's moving away from the sadness of that first verse and the plea in the chorus, and it starts building towards something more active, something more communal. This slide just lays it out so clearly. The song frames the whole thing as a kind of spiritual battle. On one side, you have these hearts of stone, which are blamed for creating unjust laws. And on the other side, the solution is hearts of flesh, which is basically a metaphor for empathy and a return to morality. The song is arguing that this internal change is what's needed to create external change. Okay, now, this is a really cool structural choice. The song's bridge completely changes gears. It morphs into a call and response, which is a classic technique you hear in rallies, protests, and even in worship services. It's designed specifically to build energy and create this amazing sense of unity, turning you from just a listener into a participant. And you can see exactly how it's built to work. A leader makes a statement, the group echoes it back, reinforcing the idea. Then the leader makes a demand, and the group echoes that, too. It's this simple, powerful loop that builds a huge sense of shared purpose and makes one voice sound like 1,000. All that energy and unity that was just built up, it all leads us to the final section of the song. This is where every theme we've heard, the grief, the faith, the demand for justice, all comes crashing together in this really powerful and determined finish. Just listen to how the language gets dialed up to 11 here. It's more direct, it's more sweeping than before. It's not just about stopping harm anymore. Now it's about exposing every wicked work and cutting through every wall. This is it, the culmination of the song's entire emotional journey, the final, ultimate demand for truth. And then, bam, the outro hits. It's this rapid-fire series of declarations that just builds and builds. It starts with, "We rise in light," which is a perfect callback to that earlier plea for holy light. But it's not a plea anymore, is it? It's a statement of action. The momentum keeps building. We rise in truth. This line just hammers home the central theme of the whole song, that core principle of speaking truth to power. Then, we rise in love.
This connects so well to that earlier idea of turning hearts of stone into hearts of flesh. It frames the entire movement as something driven by compassion, not by hate.
And finally, it all culminates with "We rise in you." This last line makes it explicit. The entire resolution is grounded in a spiritual foundation. It ties all that religious language from the whole song together into one final, powerful statement of faith-driven action.
So, what's the big picture here? When we break it all down, we see a song that's been very carefully crafted to take the listener on a specific journey, from feeling alone in your pain to feeling united in a collective purpose. It uses that classic truth to power idea. It uses interactive tricks like call and response to build community. And it anchors its final call to action in a clear set of spiritual values.
It's a pretty powerful formula, and it really makes you wonder, right? What is that secret ingredient that turns a song into an anthem? Something that can actually move people. It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for digging into this with me.